miracle. We're bleeding out. Thoughts and prayers.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Dastardly Gentleman podcast. And with me, I have Frank. Say hi, Frank.
Hi.
Hey.
I mean, I don't even know what you were just doing there.
Listen, you made fun of me that one time, so I had to change it up.
Oh, okay.
So here we
What,
go.
for phoning it in to mail carding it in? Postcarding it?
Whoa, rude dude.
Look, I love you, okay?
I don't think you do. I think you're a dirty liar. So anyways, tonight we're gonna talk about justice.
I appreciate that you fist bumped me before you yelled tonight. Bro fist.
So justice.
Taking a page from the PewDiePie book.
Yeah, I mean, your father loves it.
Your father loves it. He agricultured on the VCR. Alright, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so justice. We are talking about justice. There's a lot of justices and injustices going on in the world. I mean, that's kind of the nature of humanity. But what's going on lately, Frank?
Well, they got that Elizabeth Smart's kidnapper is getting released.
Yeah.
Well, 50% of the kidnapping crew.
Yeah. Tell us about what happened there, Frank. Because
Elizabeth Smart got kidnapped when she was an itty bitty, and 16 years later, they got her kidnapper is going to be released. Now, I'm just kind of like briefly reading up on it, just because I had a discussion with somebody that I work with today, where she was of the opinion of, well, I mean, I can't believe they're letting her out, and I was like, well, how long has it been? Well, it's been like 16 years. I'm like, what if that's her sentence though? Well, they shouldn't be letting her out. Yeah, but what if that was her sentence though? I mean, like, how do you arbitrarily measure the line of, I feel like she needs to be punished beyond the scope of what was given to her in a court of law? It's just, well, I just don't think she should get let out. I'm like, okay, I don't, but I get that. But I mean, then what would you rather have happen? Because I mean, at this point, you're not really looking at justice, you're looking at punishment, and it's not the same thing.
Well, yeah, but like even punishment has its limits. You can't just be
you could kill somebody. I mean, like that's the end.
I mean, and everybody makes mistakes, man. Some of us wind up in jail. So, like, if you wind up in jail and you made a mistake, look, I didn't think this whole thing through when I was kidnapping that little girl. Shouldn't you have an opportunity to turn your life around? I think so.
I mean, yeah. My thing is my concern or my question, because I haven't even had an answer yet, because the CNN article talks about how mental health evaluations or risk assessment. Appreciate the support, blah blah blah. My thing about it was, how complicit was she? Because apparently the guy is serving 2 life terms. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, he's being appropriately punished then, because that was determined by a court of law. But his wife, whom is 72, by the way,
Jesus.
what exactly did she participate in? I mean, like, if she was like, and that was my thing when we were talking about it, like, was she upstairs, like, like afraid for her life and more or less beaten to the point? Because, like, you see this a lot, and unfortunately, like with battered spouses, not even just women, but like, they get to a point of fear where they just are, become yes men. Just whatever you want. Yeah, just don't hit me again. And then they become so encapsulated by the fear that they can't escape it. So I'm like, my question was, was this lady like that? Because if she is, I mean, is she even complicit? Because then the other argument was, or her other argument was, well, if she knew about it and she didn't actually kidnap him, she should have done something about it. Should she though? I mean, could she though? Could she mentally have done something about it?
Could she mentally have done something about it? And would she die in the process? Would she be murdered? Right. You know, I mean, like, self-preservation is kind of a big deal there. And even if, you know, I really want to do the right thing, but if I do, I'm going to die, like, right now.
Right.
You know, so, I mean, that's kind of a big deal. But here's my thing. Like, you can't really talk about justice without talking about jail. Okay? So, here's my take. And Frank's probably going to slightly disagree with me on this because we differ in opinion on these types of things. But, so, when somebody does their time, judge sentences them and says you've got 10 years for the crime you committed, whatever. Okay, I'm just rounding it to a nice round number. You know, you're given that opportunity to reflect on your horrid, terrible crime that you committed for the next 10 years. Maybe you get, you know, sooner for good behavior, whatever. And you get out. All right? So that's standard, how it works. But then what? I mean, in many states, you're no longer ever allowed to vote. You're no longer ever allowed to own a firearm. I mean, you're supposed to be re-entered into society again, but you're a second-hand citizen, a second-class citizen at that point. What do you think about that, Frank? Do you think that's all right?
I think that as a citizen, you have, I guess, like the innate right, just by existing in the United States and by being a civilian under the Constitution, to be able to serve your punishment and then be reinstated as a citizen post punishment. Some caveats, sure. I mean, like if you're a violent crime kind of guy, you know, no, you can't have a gun.
Right.
You know, that's stupid. Like, you know, you previously shot 6 people, you know, because you said God told you to. But then, like, you went to a mental health institute and they presumed, you know, after 5 or 6 years, they said, yeah, he's sane. So then you did a sentence of some minimal amount because at the time you were crazy. And then they released you. Should you be allowed to have a gun? No fucking way. Should you be allowed to vote? Why not? I mean, like, that's if you have done the prescribed time that is classified as justice by the United States or by a federal judge, then yeah, you should be allowed to be reinstated in the United States. Now, I mean, the only other option is if you don't want people to do that, if you don't feel like they can become citizens again, either liquidate them or give them exile. Because I mean, like, if you feel like these people will never be functionally able to cooperate in society as a social unit ever again, then don't even pretend like you're not gonna that you even have an interest in the problem.
Right.
Let's not exacerbate things. Just get rid of them. Period. However you want to do that. That's me. That's a me thing. I mean, to me, I mean, I would pick exile. Just be like, you know, you just have like an island. You just dump them on and be like, all right, you guys figure it out. Or you can go you can be an expat. You can be anywhere but the United States. If we're not gonna let you vote, if you're not gonna be able to participate in the Constitution, if you're not gonna be able to actually, like, you know, hold citizenship, then you gotta go. But then they still make these poor fucks pay taxes.
Yeah.
I mean, like, taxes are like your entry fee to voting.
Yes.
You know, I mean, like, that's like, you know, when you go to the brothel and you give the guy your money so you can fuck somebody, you know, I mean, like, this is how I view voting. Right. When you give money to the guy and so you could go fuck somebody, I mean, like, you know you're gonna fuck him good, so like that's my entry fee. I'm allowed to go do the fucking now. You know, and in the end, I'm gonna be the one getting fucked. But I know that. But I mean, right now, I'm doing the fucking. So fuck you. and that's voting.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, like, you pay your taxes, and that basically indicates I am a tax-paying citizen of the United States. Right. Therefore, under the Constitution, under a tax-paying citizen of the United States, because my hard-earned money is going towards the operation of this government, both local and federal, I should be allowed to have the same rights and privileges as everyone else who pays taxes. Again, with small caveats, like if I was a violent offender or if I was a rapist, I shouldn't be allowed to be, around kids, like a elementary school, or if you're a violent offender, you can't have weapons. And if someone needs to come check on you, that's up to your parole board and your public advocate. But beyond that, you should be able to have the right to vote.
Yes.
You should have full citizenship because citizenship is defined by even old Roma Republic standards as the right to be able to vote.
Yes.
To me, it's an obvious thing. Like, you want people to vote, and it's fucking insane because I know we're talking about Florida, but it's insane that you would have that many people that are in your constituency that you would be like, nah.
I mean, revoking somebody's right to vote, that's taxation without representation. I mean, that's what this country stands for. I mean, the opposite of that, actually.
Right.
So, I mean, you have a right to say where your money goes, for one. You have a right to say what happens in this country if you're a citizen here. While you're doing your time, not so much. But once you're reintegrated as a citizen, I mean, there's so many, you look at these job applications, you look at all this shit where it's like, have you ever been convicted of a felony? And it's like, yeah, I mean, I kind of want to know. If I were an employer, I'd totally want to know that. But at the same time, it's like, well, it's kind of private, but it's not. But it's
not even a little bit.
But it's like, okay, well, I've got one guy that's not very qualified, but you're very qualified, but you almost beat a guy to death. I'm going to pick the less qualified person, please. You can move on, please.
See, for me, because I was in a position of hiring and firing,
sure,
and I didn't mind I didn't mind hiring people that had a record, but I mean, whenever they identified it, it was always hey, this person went to jail, not prison, for stealing, and I'm like, could you explain that to me a little bit? I mean, if you're comfortable with it, I just want to know what exactly is that you did. Well, I shoplifted whenever I was 17, almost 18, so they tried me as an adult. And I'm like, okay, so really kind of a non sequitur,
right?
Because I mean, you're in your fucking 30s now, so I mean, kind of not really relevant. So all right, fine. But then there's the other ones where it's well, it says that you've been to prison. If you're comfortable with it, could you tell me about that? Well, whenever I was 26, I got caught going down on a 12-year-old. Well, I'll see you later.
Yeah, you gotta go.
Bye. And I always got, because stealing is the number one, was always the number one for me whenever I was hiring people. So I mean, and my thing, I didn't mind giving them another chance, because a lot of times if you give them a chance, they're practically obsessed with the job, because no one else would hire them locally. So it's like, okay, yeah, I'll hire you. And I was pretty candid with them. I'm like, if I even suspect that you're fucking stealing from me, I will have your fucking parole officer down here elbow deep in your asshole. I mean, I will tell them you are smuggling fucking drugs, and they will search for it. So help you God. So, I'm just telling you, don't fucking steal from me. Oh no, I won't do that. And I never had a problem with them. I never once had anybody that was clean about their record ever give me a problem.
I mean, most people that I don't know, are seeking employment aren't there to get thrown back into jail again. I mean, that's the quickest way to do it.
Yeah, that was always the thing, because I talked to one guy, and same thing, stealing, and I was like, don't steal from me. He goes, well, hell no, I'm not gonna steal from you. He says, I already went to jail once for it. He says, shit, I want to go fucking back.
Right.
He says, that's why I'm trying to get a job. And I'm like, that is the best answer. You are so hired. You are so hired. In fact, I'm gonna take these other applications.
Trash.
We're done with these. I've already found my man. And he was great. He worked his ass off. I mean, and that was the thing. I hired. This is another here's an injustice. Okay, I hired almost solely ex-cons and vets.
Really?
And no one locally would hire either. I had a lot of vets working for me, and it was depressing to me because like these people serve the country and then they come back, and then no one will hire him. And I was talking to one of the guys because he was a fire team leader. I mean, like he was the guy that kicks down the door. He was on point in all his missions,
right?
And he had a lot of them, and so he was a little. I mean, he definitely had the stress. Let's go with that. But he was very nice. He was very gentle with everybody. I never had a problem with him. And I asked him. I said, why here though? Full disclosure, I worked at a Domino's. I'm like, why here though? I mean, I just feel like with your qualifications, you could probably have worked anywhere. And he's like, no one would hire me. And I'm like, okay, I'll bite. I mean, why the fuck not? I mean, like you're heavily decorated. You've got all this experience. Why would they not hire a vet? And he says, because I'm a vet. I'm a combat vet. They wouldn't hire me because they were too worried that I would snap in the workplace.
Wow.
I'm like, well, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And he says, yeah. So now I'm working at a Domino's. Whenever he says I've got my 4-year degree and everything else, and he says, I can't get a job. I'm like, well, that's kind of fucked up, dude.
Super fucked up. I mean,
yeah, but every one of them had the same story. Because I hired almost nothing but combat vets. And they all had the same story. People were too scared to hire him locally where we lived. So I mean, it was like, and so ex-cons and vets, they were my go-to and best workers by far. And to me, that was the full circle of justice coming out because the vets were thanked habitually for their service by me,
sure,
actually, and because and the owner used to get mad because he used to feed him. He didn't want that. He didn't want us to give him free food. But I'm like, yeah, it's a whole fucking store full of vets, though.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, you're just giving him food. Yeah, but it's a whole store full of vets. You know how you jumped into that giant fucking big rig and you decided that you wanted to traipse all over the universe and show everybody how wealthy you are? You should thank those guys for it, you fucker. I said, I think you giving them a goddamn sausage pizza every fucking week, just one a week, is, that's kind of okay. You, oh man, that made me so mad.
Dude, that makes me so mad. Especially in this town. I mean, this town is okay, Arizona. Okay. So we're super about our vets, all right? We're like, oh my God, we got to support the troops. I mean, we're fucking hard.
Not so you'd really notice, though.
Right?
I mean, it's only it's funny because it's people always say, I support the troops.
Right.
And I'm like, that's great. But then when it came to actually supporting the troops, I didn't wear a fucking ribbon. I didn't go to a goddamn luncheon. I didn't go to a dinner event. I didn't fucking have a stupid sticker on my car. I actually did it. I hired them. When nobody else would, I would hire them. And it broke my heart that these guys were getting hired. And it was fucking infuriating. And to me, was a gross injustice of exactly what we as a nation should stand for, especially in this day and age of the level of quasi-military worship that we have.
Absolutely.
We really want them, but not here.
Yeah.
And I got the not in my backyard thing.
I want
no, fuck you. They fought and killed for this country. They can have this job. They should be able to have any other fucking job in this town.
Yeah.
It's insane that they have to work for minimum wage.
Yeah, it's fucking outrageous. And okay, so appropriate. Our intro song was a song by A Perfect Circle called Talk Talk. And the message of the song is basically this. And it's not even a religious thing, but it is. It says, people want to talk like Jesus. Nobody wants to walk like Jesus. It's that. I mean, everybody wants to fucking say it to look good at the time, but when it comes time to fucking actually put it to practice, where'd everybody go? You were talking about it a second ago, but here's an opportunity and you're gone now. What happened?
I mean, so while we're on the same subject of supporting vets, I mean, it's not even a gloating thing, but it's just it's a more of the proof is in the pudding.
Yeah.
Because I've been around people that are oh, support the troops, that fucking Colin Kaepernick kneeled and it's just, he's just so bad, he's so terrible. And then, we go out to lunch or whatever, and there's like a whole table full of vets, and they're like, "Ooh, go over there," and then so while we're eating, I do this all the time. I do it for uniform military, old military. So like, got the hat that says Korea or Vietnam.
Sure.
And uniform cops. I buy them whatever they're eating, whatever they're buying for.
Sure.
It can cost me a lot of fucking money too, because like I went up to the counter at this eatery, and like this whole truck full of Army guys came in, and they all lined up, and I said, well, this is going to be an expensive day. And the guy on the counter was like, and I put my card down, and I said, whatever the hell they're buying, I mean, on the card, just buy it all. And they had no idea. I just paid for it, and I walked out. I don't want to stand there and make it weird.
Right.
But I don't ever, if I go into a place and there's a bunch of cops, I pick up the bill. There's a bunch of paramedics, I pick up the bill. First responders, the Army, I mean, I always pick it up. Just because like I still feel that from when I was hiring vets, that we have this inappropriate level of appreciation where it's non-existent. We appreciate them on paper,
yeah,
but never in practice, and it's offensive to me. And I'm socially awkward, so like I don't like to like go up and just start schmoozing with people and be like, because I always feel like I'm being like a prick, or like I'm being insincere, even though like I'm being totally sincere whenever I say thank you for your service. It just it feels awkward. So like, but so I do something like that and just leave, because I don't want to make a production of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you shouldn't.
I mean, I guess I am kind of making a production of it now, but I mean, like, this is like the first time I think I've ever talked about it.
Yeah, I didn't know that about you, to be honest. I mean, it's nice that you can actually fucking do that. I mean, it really is. I'm just gonna come out and say I'm not that kind of guy. And I'm not saying that I don't support the troops. I'm not saying that any of that shit. It's just that's one of those above and beyond things I choose not to do, and it's not because I don't want to. It's because it's just A, something I can't afford, and B, something that I don't feel should have to happen. I mean,
right.
Here's the deal. We live in a country where, like we're talking about, I mean, we've got veterans that can't get the help they need. We've got police officers that are getting chastised for doing their job. Some of them deserve to. Most of them don't.
Lady in Dallas.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one in a second. But, I mean, I don't feel like I should put myself out and overextend myself because the system's broken. I feel like we need to fix the system rather than, have a live GoFundMe every time, the situation arises. The system's broken, and I don't like it, and I think that given the things that especially the current president and the current party in charge stands for, it shouldn't be a problem. I mean, that's the thing they ran on. That's the thing that they stand for, and they don't push it when it's actually in their power to push it. But that's me getting into the whole fight the power bullshit. I'm not going to go into that. But what say you on that, Frank? I mean,
I think that like my thing is I do it because I like to, and because I think that it's important, not necessarily because I feel like it needs to occur.
Okay.
And I was reading an article about where they were talking about it was an older soldier, Vietnam, Korea, and he was talking about whenever they were soldiers, and they didn't have this soldier cult worship that is being pushed kind of by I guess you would call them the right.
Okay.
Where if they have served, they deserve your devotion. And they didn't have that back in the day. It was just a job that you did.
Right.
And whenever you came back, it was a job that you did.
Right.
You know, if you have appreciation for what that person did, that's great. But you know, the only time I will not go out of my way to thank a vet if I feel like I'm being made to.
Right.
And a lot of times, in a lot of situations, it feels like you are being practically required to go out of your way to, you know, go thank that vet. Like, well, I mean, like my gratitude is implicit. You know, my patriotism is not in question. Why are you attempting to dictate what I should have to do in a social situation? Why are you telling me that I have to walk all the way across the room, specifically thank this person for doing a job that he elected to do, and then come back and making it fucking weird for everyone? Now, if I choose to do that, then fine. But I mean, like, it almost feels like a lot of times whenever we have like this social mystique about, you know, returning veterans, some of them don't really want the interaction. You know,
some of them don't. Some of them don't deserve the interaction.
Well, most of them do.
Most of them do.
I'm going to say like a healthy enough percentage is that you could actually probably go the rest of your life thanking a vet and having every one of them deserve it.
Sure.
Because, I mean, but like, it shouldn't feel like you are socially obligated to do it at the risk of no longer being a patriot or no longer believing in an American ideal. And that's kind of how it feels right now.
It really does.
Because like I said, I do it because I like it, and it makes me feel good. And because, you know, I have like, I'm like balls deep in war history and everything else. So like, I really have an appreciation for what these individuals have gone through, especially combat vets. So, you know, I'm very, you know, you did a great service, and I appreciate that. But then like whenever like you've got the dude that's got like the, you know, the $300 polo that looks like a $5 polo, and he's got like the, you know, $200 jeans that look like he got them from a Salvation Army, telling me that, you know, it's my obligation to thank the troops. No, it's your obligation to hire them, you fucker.
Right.
I mean, if anything, like, you know, I mean, like, I don't know. It's aggravating to me whenever like I see all the stickers and all the little bandoliers, and up until this was such a recent thing that, you know, we never had this, like this, like I said, this almost like cult worship of the uniform. It wasn't a thing until very recently.
Probably like the last 30 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because like everybody, like I said, like I've talked to Vietnam vets, I've talked to Korean vets, and they're like, no, I mean, like, you guys, these new soldiers coming back, they got it great, because people come back and, you know, they thank them all the time. He says, well, they thank me for shit.
Yeah, Vietnam vets got fucking trashed on their way back.
Yeah, he says I came back. He says I couldn't get a job. People were threatening me. They threw stuff at me. I mean, everyone hated me. Half my family disowned me. He says it fucking sucked. Now, like, you know, I see him come back from Afghanistan. People fall over themselves to thank him. He says, "Where the hell were they when I came back?"
Right. Yeah, and that's a guilty by association thing, which is horseshit. I mean, that's the your commander-in-chief made a bad decision, so you don't get to blame the rest of them, you know. But I don't know. I mean, I mean, I think it's okay either way. As far as thinking of it and not thinking of it. I mean, I personally know of many veterans that let that shit go to their head. They let that shit boost their ego.
And that's the flip side.
Yeah, that's the flip side. But I see it all over the place. See, you must be lucky to the point where you don't get a lot of that. But I see it constantly where, like, oh yeah, man, I served. Yeah, I did this, I did that, and I saw combat. And you're not a man. No. You're not a man unless you've taken life. Shit like that. And it's like,
I've seen it. I mean, like, I question. You know, I question the validity of their their assertions. How about that? Because I mean, like, the people that I know that have actually, you know, taken lives or been shot at or had, like, you know, body parts thrown all over them, they don't talk like that.
They don't like to talk about it in general.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like, again, example, fire team leader that I hired. I mean, he had, you know, like, he was. This is what you'd get out of him. You're in the Army. Mm-hmm. What'd you do? Yep. That was it. He wouldn't. I mean, like, unless like he really, really, really came to either respect you or you knew him for quite a while and there was no one else around, then he might talk to you.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, other than that, I mean, like, you know, thank you for your service. Sure. I mean, like, to him, it wasn't a patriotism thing. It was you're gonna pay me X amount of dollars. That's more than I can make flipping burgers. Let's go.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it was a job, and you know, I still said thank you on Veterans Day, but like, and he actually like responded positively. But most time, when people are like, "Oh, you're a vet," he's like, I'm like, nah, I don't want this. This is over.
Yeah.
I'm not in the army anymore, so we're fine. But then I have seen the soldiers, especially like our generational ones that have returned, and they got that, like, you know, they do have that holier than thou, I was a soldier attitude, and it's like, I appreciate what you've done, but you don't have to be a douche.
Right, you have to be a dick about it.
I mean, because here's the other side. I mean, like, this is part of that. Like, you know, it takes all kinds to make a whole, especially like whenever like you're talking about a country. So then you have people who have served, and they served well with dignity, etc. They went over and they performed their function. Now let's put this on a scale, and let's talk about what it would take for that person to have unanimous appreciation for everyone that he ever comes in contact with, specifically because they were a vet and or in combat. It would take the entire fucking nation to leave all at the same time to go to a foreign war. We're talking about our entire generation. If our entire generation all got together and they all left to go to a single fucking conflict somewhere and either killed somebody, got shot at, or blown up or whatever. So you're talking about removing an entire demographic at one point just for like this person to appreciate you as an individual. Whenever you as an individual, even though you didn't go to the army, it's not like you didn't contribute to the country. And that's one of my things.
Yeah.
Because if you are working, if you are pulling a wage and you are paying your taxes, you are contributing in a patriotic way.
Absolutely.
Just because you didn't fight to the death somewhere else, and I'm not discrediting anyone who did, doesn't mean that you didn't contribute in the country in some way. Now, it's not the same way. But that also does, just because that you were a soldier doesn't give you the right to shit all over somebody who wasn't.
Right.
Because again, imagine if everyone was. Our country would collapse.
Yes.
You wouldn't have one because everyone would be a fucking soldier.
Money's got to come from somewhere. There's got to be a home base.
How do you think that, you know, you can afford the guns, the bombs, the munitions, the armor, the bandages, the bayonets, the replacements? I mean, like, that doesn't literally grow on trees. I mean, like, the guy who is at home and orders a pizza and pays a sales tax just contributed to every single fucking conflict on the planet.
Yep.
He just contributed to you and your squad mates getting reinforcements because the helicopter had gas in it. So it's like you have to think about the broader spectrum. You can't think about just this one thing. You can't discredit an entire group of people simply because they didn't do what you did.
Absolutely.
That's the economics of conflict.
Absolutely. Okay, so we went on a pretty large tangent there.
That's okay.
But
that's what we do here. We should really just call this the tangent.
The tangent show.
The tangent show.
We think of a subject and then we don't stick with it at all.
That's why our subjects are so vague. We're talking about justice and injustice. Like what? Let's talk about that.
You made a good point. Let's talk about something entirely different. So let's talk
now for something completely different.
Let's talk about this thing in Dallas. So, I don't know.
You know, the more I read about this, the more I'm like, why? How? Okay, so first, you know, the way that I'm gonna go CNN because I was keeping up with it on CNN. I don't know why I like CNN, probably because it's easy for me to type into my phone. But I read CNN, and it's funny because I dislike most of the stuff they write. You know, full disclosure, I'm not I'm not a fucking libtard. Just like the root. I haven't found anything on the root that I liked in a positive way. Everything was always just kind of like, can you believe the shit these people say?
What people?
like the Game of Thrones is all about how white people keep black people down.
What?
And I'm like, you do what? Okay, so I was reading about it on CNN. I had to think about it for a second because I started to go down all the stories of the root that I've ever read. I was reading about it, and at first they were like, Dallas police officer kicks in door and kills man. I was like, oh Jesus, it was the wrong house. I was like, oh my God. And then it was like it was an apartment. And I'm like, okay, well I guess that's a little bit more understandable question mark because there are so many numbers to look at. And obviously you just pick a door random and kill whoever's inside. And then it was the wrong apartment. Okay, fine. And then it was a female cop, and I'm like, don't know how it's relevant, but okay. And then it became she thought she was going home, and I'm like, what? And then it was like, she says in her statement, I knew it wasn't my house when I turned the lights on. And I'm like, and you still shot the fucking guy anyway. What? That's like, that statement alone, if the state does literally anything other than fucking what is it, 2nd degree murder? Just throw it out. If you, black folk, fucking burn it all down because this is some hokey shit. So she goes in to the random fucking place and I know she's a cop. I get that. I'm fine. But she went into the wrong house, turned the fucking light on, and there's probably some dude. Because the pictures of this guy, the way they talked about him, he was probably lounging in a chair comfortably, watching TV, reading a book, playing a video game, whatever. Probably looked up and went, "Excuse," and then gets murdered. What the fuck, people? What's wrong with you? And then,
who is this lady rapping on my chamber door?
And she just opens the door and turns the light on. First, my only complaint on his part is you should always lock your door. Always lock your door. So if her key doesn't work,
locks are doing their job. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, locks are doing their job. Yeah, they kept the cops out. But I truly, I don't. I know everyone's like, she shot him because he's black. I don't think that's it. I think she shot him because she's fucking stupid.
That's probably a very large part of it.
And I truly don't think that it was so much a race thing, so much as it was just a, this is the wrong house. There's somebody in the wrong house. Better shoot him. This woman clearly should never have been a cop.
Yeah.
And I feel like if we look at her records, there's probably a lot of indications of something ain't right with this woman.
Okay. So let me interject here. All right. So get this.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. You said that you don't think she shot him because he was black. Okay.
I don't necessarily. I can't say that.
You don't know for sure, but you think. I'm okay. I'm okay with speculation.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, we don't know, but I will take it back to that incident in Tulsa. Okay. Incident in Tulsa where there was a black man stopped in the middle of the road. Female police officer, fearing for her life. Dude is high on something. Who knows? But he's out of it. He might have been high on his own meds that he was taking, but he was out of his mind. He had no weapon. Hands were up like this, but he was just clearly no weapon. He starts walking towards the police officers as commanded, and the female officer just guns him down. And she got off on that, by the way. She was acquitted, I think. I don't know what the term is, but
it's acquitted.
Yeah. Because she feared for her life. She feared for her life because a very large, very black, very presumably not in his right mind black man was scary.
Here's the thing about that, though. If you watch the video, her story is that at one point when commanded to come towards the officers, he attempted to reach into his vehicle, and that's whenever she shot him because she there said, come towards us, and then he turned around and tried to get into the car. Not get into the car. He was reaching through the window.
Sure.
And so the presumption on their part was that he was reaching for a firearm.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's on the flip side of that, don't you think since there's two of you and you both got a beat on him, And even if he did pull a gun out, even if he did, you got two guns that are going to fire at least around 10,000 feet per second, little tiny metal objects that are going to tear him all to pieces, which is what you did anyway. But, let's just say, like, if I reached into my car and I attempted to bust out an assault rifle, an AR-15 death machine that's going to it's going to leap out of my hands and it's going to wipe out an entire school district. Let's just say I had one, in my car, and I went to pull it out. So it's like, and now the rifle's out. I mean, yeah, it's. I feel like there could have been like some speculation time on their part, like, the fuck is he doing? He doesn't know. And then, like, there's no gun, and then, like, get the fuck over here. Then let's just say, like, he had to go into a high speed pursuit. So let him go into high speed pursuit. I'm not gonna let you talk. Let him go into high speed pursuit, and let him get run off the road. But I mean, like, at least you could be like, this dude needed to be put down at this point. But I mean, right when they did it, it was like, nah, there's no reason.
Okay, so did you see the video? He was surrounded by police officers, and there was a helicopter.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, it's
why was he allowed to stay standing for that long? That should have been, okay, let's go apprehend this guy that's unarmed and put him in cuffs.
I wonder about that. I truly do, because it's like, they're like, well, it was a female officer. I'm like, yeah, it was a female officer that shot him. What about those guys?
Yeah.
Was this like the Iron Harrier's day off and it was only the Valkyria squad was on? I mean, like, they're all like, are you going to tell me that from the people in the helicopter to all the people that surrounded him to the people that were on backup were all women?
Diversity hires.
I mean, like, okay, let's just say, hey, there are two that cops carry 2 projectiles on them. 3, actually. They have the gun, or as Dallas and Tulsa are like starting to call it, the black man tamer, or they have
oh my God.
they have their, I mean, it's so sad because it's awful, but they've also got a fucking taser, which shoots. You don't have to touch him with it. It's not a fucking stun gun. And then they've got that, that hornet spray,
the mace.
Yeah. So you have 2 non-lethal things to shoot a human being with. You don't have to use the one that permanently kills someone. You could just do one that makes them wish they were dead. D, you know what? For a goof, why don't you double up? If you're not totally sure, why don't you both hit him with the taser and then you both hit him with the fucking spray at the same fucking time? He's still not gonna die.
He could have been on PCP, Frank.
Well, I mean, that he's gonna be really fucked up for a while, because I mean, like, he's practically gonna be blind for like a week. So, but let's just say, I mean, like, let's just say that all the cops got out, all of them. There's like 12 of them. They're surrounded. This guy is Custer. He's got his hands up. He's a PCP-laden Custer. And he's got all these cops around him. And all these fucking nasty-ass Chippewas are going to bust out their wasp spray and literally hose him like the second Ghostbusters movie. I mean, like, he's covered in wasp spray. You still didn't have to fucking shoot him. You could have hit him with your fucking car. Like, you could have hit him with your car and it would have probably been a less lethal option. You could have done literally anything than what you did. Why did you elect? I mean, here's the thing. I think it was only the one lady that shot him.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody else fired. They're like, oh God, somebody's shooting. Let's start shooting.
Can you imagine being the person next to him and you're the one that's like keeping your shit together and you're like, I don't know what he's doing. I mean, he's doing, and bang, bang. What the fuck, Janice?
That's what they said. The freaking people in the helicopter. Like, okay, yeah, he's clearly on something. Oh man, he's not in his right mind. But he's got his hands up. So, and then all of a sudden, bam, 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 bam. They're like, we need an ambulance out here right now.
Yeah, what stat? Because somebody just lost their fucking mind.
It's like,
that's just bananas to me. I mean, like, I know I'm probably the worst example or judge on this, because I have social disorders. Let's go with that. That sounds really good.
Okay.
Where I have a low value on humanity as a substance. So let's take what I say with a grain of salt. But I still feel like literally doing anything other than shooting a guy that you can't confirm has a weapon, it's probably a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's the nuclear option, but right away. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, we're gonna have trade negotiations. Not anymore. What country?
Like
I don't get it.
Captain,
I don't get it, but at the same time,
it's like people are easier to search when they're dead. It's like, yes, they are.
That's accurate. You know, I mean, I don't necessarily subscribe. I totally do. I understand. Okay, I subscribe to it, but in a social context of the United States, I do not approve of it. If we were in a dystopian wasteland, however, there would be my people, which by my people I mean me, and then everyone else. You know, I mean, there would be me. Period.
Yeah. So anyway, back on what we were making the comparison to. So she got off because she said she was afraid. So don't do that. So lady in Dallas obviously was fearing for her life because big strong black man.
Horse shit. So stupid. It's not her fucking house. As soon as she said out loud to a fucking reporter or to anyone else who has a stenograph or a pen microphone could solve this whole thing. This bitch needs to go to jail forever. When I opened the door, I quote, when I opened the door and turned the lights on, I realized it wasn't my house. Then close the door and fucking leave.
No, bang bang.
But like, so then if it was me, because I'm here by myself and someone just opens up my door, I'm gonna have a fucking heart attack. I will come out and I will try to find out what the shit's going on, and it will probably be a fucking cop. I mean, like, yeah. So like, okay, so now he's 99. You know, he's got a big day tomorrow. You know, he's got a luncheon with the Johnsons. I mean, who knows what could happen after that? He's got a big time with his boss. He's probably going to get a promotion. He's probably going to get that sick-ass parking spot he's always wanted right next to the Employee of the Year. He's not going to be Employee of the Year. That might be next year. Because today it went to Phil. Phil sucks dick, so we all know how Phil got that.
Fucking Phil.
So tomorrow he's trying to get ready. He's got all his shit all ironed. You know, he did his hair. He's groomed because you want to shave at night because you want that just like slightly scruffy, handsome look. You know, I'm not clean shaven, but I'm like ready to fuck your mom. So he's like, so that he's ready for the next day. You know, door slams open, lights come on. The fuck, dead. And that was the end of his life. That was the end of his fucking life. He had so much to go. I mean, I am just aghast by this whole thing. I mean, because putting it in perspective, he was our age.
Yes. It could have happened to anybody.
He had a whole career, and that blows me away because there are stories of like, you know, cops being like, the asshole has a gun, and it's like a 7-year-old kid with a little like squirt gun with the orange end, and they like literally eviscerate him with gunfire. It's like, dude, what is your problem? Again, though, I turned the lights on, and I realized it wasn't my house. If anything, she needs to go away forever for 2 things: breaking and entering and second-degree murder. Yeah, she's a home invader. Straight up.
Yeah, breaking and entering, for sure. But, like, okay, so they picked her up for manslaughter.
There's no fucking way. If she gets manslaughter, I'm going to have a one-man riot.
Yeah, I will riot too.
I'll be outside screaming at the clouds because, like, that pisses me off.
Absolutely. And we were talking about this the other day. It's like, okay, you know, disclaimer. I appreciate what cops do. I appreciate that.
I do too. You know, that's not the point.
That's not the point. But, you know, there's a lot of this shit going around of the fucking mafia mentality when it comes to police officers. If a person, okay, you take on the job, you get the money, and it's slightly more than most people in your area. You take on liability. I mean, okay, so me as an IT guy, if I were a system administrator, okay, I get paid a little bit more money. Why? I mean, I'm not doing more work. I'm doing less work, actually. I'm doing a whole lot less work than the help desk guy. Why? Because it's more specialized. Whatever. It's less work. Really, the only reason why I'm getting paid more money is because I could fuck a whole lot of shit up. Like, a whole lot of shit up in a short amount of time and cost the company a ton of money. By clicking the wrong
held
thing.
accountable
Yeah,
for
it's the liability. Same thing when
Yeah.
it comes to cops. Okay? If you're just a fucking security guard that has a baton and a taser, like one of those like stun gun tasers.
Like a mall cop?
Yeah, mall cop. You know?
Right, yeah.
Your liability goes down because you're not going to kill anybody unless you try really hard.
really work at it.
But, you know, your liability goes up as a fucking cop. Okay, you take on that job. Your life is on the line. Their life is on the line. You need to worry about their life almost as much as you worry about your own. Okay? So,
Right.
when you fuck up, not only are you fired, okay, you're fired. You just killed somebody. But you take on that extra responsibility of, I'm probably going to go to jail for a while. Because you just ended somebody's life accidentally. You know, you don't get to be above the law just because you enforce the law.
To me, there are going to be extenuating circumstances.
Of course. But go ahead and say it.
And this is not one of them, you know, because I mean,
She was off duty.
it's not like here's the thing. I mean, here is also a major apportionment of this discussion. Like you said, she wasn't on duty. She wasn't responding to a call. She was going home. She went to the wrong apartment in her apartment complex. She probably knew this guy.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, like, I don't remember what his name is, but I mean, like, so he, like, wheels around the corner and goes, oh, shit, it's Jimmy. Better kill him. Like, you know? So, I mean, the likelihood is that she knew him. She wasn't responding to a call. She didn't kick the fucking door in. She just went in to someone else's house. I mean, you know, that'd be like if a cop just, you know, hey, you know, I'm not on duty. I'm in my civvy clothes. I'm just gonna rob a bank. You know, I mean, it's like you're just casually committing a crime. I mean, like, this one was at first it was an innocent crime, and again, she probably if they lived in the same apartment complex, she probably knew him or at least knew of him. And he probably knew her. And if she gave him more than a half a second to do anything other than fuck and then die, I mean, she probably would have been able to find out that he fucking knew her too. And they probably could have talked it out. But she didn't. She slapped Leather first and asked questions. Never.
Never.
So I just can't get over I cannot get over the turning the light on.
I bet you
me.
anything. She's like, you know what? This motherfucker has my season 2 DVD of Dawson's Creek. He's gotta die.
People will know. And that's it's so fucked up because, like, you know, she wasn't responding to a call. Even if they didn't know each other and she went to the wrong house and she opened the fucking apartment door and this dude comes wheeling out, like, what the fuck? I mean, she could have literally innocently went like, oh shit, my bad. I guess I went to the wrong place. You know, I am so sorry. But instead, for some reason, she pulled a gun?
Like you do.
Like, okay. When I turn the lights on, I realize it's not my apartment. Well, obviously, I have gone through the looking glass, you know, and I'm about to fight mirror version of me, and I need to be armed because whoever comes down that hallway is going to be me, but evil me, and I have to kill him. You know? So, I mean, like,
Dark
she just
Frank.
didn't even wait. She just ambushed him. Right? Dark Frank comes out, and I killed him. He's a Frank without a mustache. You know, he looked. I put him down. What's the thought process of I turn the lights on and go, this isn't my shit. Die, criminal! I mean, like, she went like full Judge Dredd. Like, no hesitation. There was no thought process.
Dude, it's exactly like fucking Dave Chappelle said. It's exactly what he said. He's like, you know, he said he was afraid to have police come into his house ever even if he got robbed, because he's like, my house isn't too nice, but it's too nice for them to think that I live here. And if I report a robbery and they come in, I'm like, he's still here. Open and shut case, Johnson. I've seen this once when I was a rookie. This guy came in here and hung up pictures of his family everywhere.
That's actually really funny. I had not heard that, but I mean, it's Dallas though, it's Dallas. It's not like, I don't know. It's not one of the areas that I would imagine being overrun with like, I guess, like, because my only thought process she could have is that, like, he was like, gangland level crime, and so it's like, well, I mean, there is literally no justification, because I can't really imagine that being the case. First of all, what fucking apartment complex do you live in?
I saw the apartment complex. The apartments all look pretty similar, but it doesn't matter. I mean, there's numbers on the fucking door,
I mean, I actually, we talked earlier that we were going to talk about this, and I actually cogitated quite a bit on it today. And in my vast ruminations, I was actually going to try to go devil's advocate, to try to come up with some justifiable reason, but there is no justifiable reason. Like, if I just casually stroll into your house, I'm literally a fucking home invader.
Yes.
I'm trying to think in a way that we can, try to reach some mutual understanding about, like, why she did what she did, except for, I don't know, blatant fucking stupidity. But I mean, if you're that stupid, you should never have a firearm.
No, absolutely not.
Ever.
What's funny though is when this shit went down, and I perused this section of Reddit called Black People Twitter, which is hilarious. You should check it out. It's hilarious. But I saw a couple tweets that went out that says somehow, some way, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Whatever. People are gonna say it was his fault somehow, or he should have answered the door, or whatever. It's like, no, he did exactly what any normal person would have done.
Absolutely.
Somebody's banging on my door. I'm gonna peek out the window. Oh, it looks like a cop. Okay, let me see what's going on. Maybe they need help. Oh, I'm dead now.
Well, I mean, the way that I read it, she straight up walked in.
Did she walk in? I thought she was pounding on the door and saying,
that was my understanding.
I thought it was.
I'll have to read it again.
I thought it was my key. I thought I read that she tried to use her key. It didn't work, and she started pounding on the door.
So then, here's my question: like, then who were you trying to get in touch with? Who were you trying to get in touch with that required a violent response?
What do you mean?
So my key doesn't work. Okay, fine, fuck. Bang, 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 gun out.
She heard noises. She heard noises in the apartment, so she thought somebody was in her apartment. My key doesn't work. Maybe they changed locks.
Of course, your key. Of course, if you are knocking on the fucking door to get someone's attention, of course there's somebody fucking there. How else do you think you're getting, you stupid twat? Jesus fucking Christ! So again, my question: knock, 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 gun out. There's somebody in there. Well, fuck yeah, it is. What if it's your mom? When are you gonna open the door and be like, "Mom, you're much blacker than I thought." Dead. I mean, like,
what big teeth you have.
What's the thought process on that? I mean, like, so whoever answers, I mean, like, so here must have been, here it is. I've got it. If she's been mistakenly locked out of her own apartment, I got her. I understand. Here it is.
All right.
Key doesn't work. Knock, knock, knock. Fuck. Well, somebody better answer this door. Knock, knock, knock. Somebody answer this door, because they're fucking dead. Somebody better let me in this house, because I'm gonna kill them. I had a bad day working. Man, someone's gonna fucking pay. I don't know. Like I'm really working at it. It's so
I
hard.
told you, man. It was that Dawson's Creek.
Jared said, "Open up the door. It's real. Knock, knock. Open up the door. It's real." Stop, pop, pop. Oh my god, that's unfortunately appropriate.
It really is. And you know, okay, I can only think of one reason why a gun would be drawn, and it's a stupid reason, but I'm gonna say it. All right.
Okay.
You don't have a whole lot of time to react. I mean, if let's just say home invader has a gun, and they open the door with gun drawn already, you're at a disadvantage. But at that case, I mean, you're a police officer. You shouldn't be waiting to get a door opened on you. You should be fucking on the side of the, door jamb there, looking, or, taking cover, or something. It's like, I'm going to shoot him before he shoots me. That's
Right,
the only thing I can think of.
But, here's the question. Or I should say, really, she wasn't responding to a call. It wasn't like there was no home invasion. It was just, I'm going home. My key doesn't work. Knock, knock. Who the fuck was she trying to get a hold of? That required her to get a goddamn gun.
Excuse me.
And here's okay. So now let's take it a little step back. Okay, let's not say let me retract that. Let's not say that she pulled the gun before the door opened. Let's say she pulled the gun after the door opened. So knock knock, lights come on. He answers the door. This isn't my apartment. Bang bang bang. It's even worse. So I mean, like, I'm in the wrong house. Better search again. But this fucker's dead though. Like, it's literally worse. I mean, so at that point, it's not even second degree anymore.
No.
Because she had to stop and think about it. Be like, this isn't my apartment. Well, fuck you. Those are nice drapes.
Listen, I'd still say it's second degree because, first degree implies like legit premeditation. But first of all, okay. So two things. I had to tell a story that Jared's talking about, which he's not talking in Twitch chat, so nobody else knows what I'm fucking talking about. But back onto what we were saying before, she better not get manslaughter, or there will be riots, and rightfully so. But if she is tried and convicted and given the appropriate sentence in this whole situation, I really think everything's going to be okay. I mean, not for, the guy she killed and his family and friends and stuff, but I don't think there will be riots. She deserves to go to jail for a very long time, probably the rest of her life. That being said, wow, why am I so loud all of a sudden? That being said, let's talk a little bit about this. Let me turn myself down because I'm loud all of a sudden. This Jared was talking about, well, what if there was a poop sandwich out there? Now, let me tell you a little bit about this poop sandwich situation.
Oh, my God.
Have you heard this story, Frank?
I've heard the story, and it's stupid. Go for it.
Oh, look. Frank's already checked out. You know what? Never mind. I'm not going to tell you about the poop sandwich situation.
No, I'm actually reading about something important. So, I mean, like, if you want to talk about it,
I don't know. We're not doing it. Frank's removed himself. He's disengaged.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Oh, am I? Yeah. I'm trying to find out whether or not this woman actually, opened up the door or knocked or whatever.
Okay, then I guess I'll tell my stupid story while he's reading. He's doing some research right now. Okay.
I am.
Okay. So I get a call, in the middle of the night, probably 11:30 at night. It's from Jeremiah. He's freaking out. He had already called the cops, but he wanted to call me too and say, "Hey, there's some banging on my door. I don't know who it is. I'm afraid it's me and the wife. We called the cops, but can you come back? Can you come over? Because we hung out that night. We were playing WoW, and I think we had a LAN party, or maybe we were partying. I can't remember. But I came back. I brought my Tonto with me. It's a 6-7 inch blade, just in case I had to fight off an intruder that was lurking around his house. So I get there. fucking full on with my Tonto. And I get there right about the same time the cop does. And I'm like, shit. Gotta put this long ass knife somewhere so I don't know, get arrested. I left it on my I left it on in between the hood and my windshield of my car. I'm like, okay, terrible place to put it, but I didn't want to be like, oh shit, cops, fucking hide it real quick. So, whatever. Cop comes around. He's like, who are you? I'm like, Jeremiah called me. He's afraid. I heard he said he heard some banging on the door, so I'm here to help him out. And he's like, oh, okay. And he points his fucking flashlight onto my Tonto. He's like, what's that? I'm like, that's my knife. He's like, I'm gonna pretend like I don't see that. I'm like, thank you so much. Because, the rule, what's the rule in Arizona? You can't have a knife longer than your bottom of your palm to your middle finger? Something like that? 6-inch knife? Something like that.
Not anymore.
I don't know. Anyways.
Now you can carry anything you want to.
Carry a fucking broadsword, a claymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, William Wallace. Anyways, so...
that's our 171, the same one that allowed Joe Arpaio to just, wrangle up anyone browner than him.
Oh. Sounds about right, dude. So anyways... So, me and the cop walk to Jeremiah's front door, and look on the ground there. I almost stepped in it. There was a paper plate, piece of bread, a turd on that piece of bread, and a water bottle full of piss. And the cop was like, oh, looks like your friend here got a nice turd sandwich. And a bottle of piss to wash it down with. Fucking Jeremiah comes to the door. He's got his arm blades ready to go. Fucking, he's ready to cut somebody. He's like, oh, it's the cops. And cop's like, yeah, you got pranked. Have a good night. He didn't do shit. It's like, let me know.
What is he going to do? You got a poop sandwich.
I know, yeah. He's like, it's very funny. You got a poop sandwich. And it went on for a while. We didn't figure out who it was until probably about 4 or 5 months later. And it was Paul. The whole time. We even had him at parties a few times and he denied it. Up one side and down the other.
I mean, wouldn't you?
Huh?
Wouldn't you?
I mean, I don't know. That was pretty clever. I'd probably take credit for it eventually. You got him pretty good. All right, so what did you come up with?
I read a bit on it. She didn't turn the lights on until after she had already shot him first.
Oh.
Second, it's actually not really much better because the door was partially ajar but still locked. So she had her key card, which she used to pry the door open.
Oh, so she did break in under. Okay.
She straight up broke in and then saw a large silhouette of someone who was probably trying to find his phone to call the cops, which ironically were there. And she said, get on the ground. He was probably like, the fuck you say? And then she shot him.
Yeah, it's not any better.
That literally should not have been your first response, was to just shoot him. I mean, aside from the fact that, like you said, yeah, look, I live in an apartment complex. I look at my fucking apartment number every time I walk up the door. I can't help it. It's fucking right there. I mean, you should probably know where the hell you are. If anything, I also know how many flights of fucking stairs I go up. I mean, I'm not on the 3rd floor. I need to live on the 4th floor because that is where my stuff is housed.
Listen,
I mean, my season 2 of Dawson's Creek is on the 4th floor, not the 3rd floor.
Maybe she was late for a raid. I don't know. I don't know, man.
I don't know. I just my thought process on it is that whenever let's just say she opens up the door, bang, opens up the door. I'm sorry, jimmies the door open, breaks into this place, and then looks at a dark silhouette and says, get on the ground. And they don't. Why would you just shoot? ...
Listen. Wasn't that her service weapon? I mean,
yeah. And here's the thing: it's like they talk about how she thought her house was being burgled. Very, as a police officer, you'd probably know that most places just get robbed. They don't have weapons generally.
Right.
It's just because they don't want that.
Right.
Second, you got to think about, how did this individual break into my apartment? What floor am I on? She says she's on the wrong floor. This implies that she's not on the first. Correct?
Right.
That would be my thinking. I am not on the first floor, so I am on another floor. This person has locked himself inside of my house.
I can't get out.
So I'm breaking it. My key doesn't work. It keeps giving me the no. Beep, no. Beep, no. Well, fuck. I guess I better break in. So then she pries the door open, sees somebody inside, points gun, get on the floor. No response.
Bang,
She
bang.
got like a light or something, reach for the light switch.
They usually have flashlights. I mean, they're.
I mean, like, and if he doesn't immediately respond, I would be like, shoulder to the door and just being like yelling at him and then get my flashlight out and then I'd blind his ass and then be like, oh, that ain't my shit.
Sorry. Have a good night.
Sorry,
Please don't call the cops on me.
nearly killed you. I would call the cops personally. Like if I was the police officer and I broke into the place on accident, admittedly. I talked to the guy, be completely honest. I thought it was my apartment. I don't know. I'm sorry. And then I would call the police with him and be like, I want to file a police report. Do you want to file charges? He would probably say no. If he says no, I want it to be known that this happened. It was an accident. The cops take it down, say, okay, no charges to be filed. Have a good night. It's now on record that this was an accident. Nobody got hurt. Nobody died. No charges are being filed. As opposed to, I'm gonna kill that Nazgul.
The silhouette.
Like I mean that would be my defense. I would go straight for the crazy. I mean, like if I realized that I basically just murdered a guy because I was an idiot, I would have to go full crazy. Your Honor, there was a magic seal on my door. It took a lot out of me, but I managed to remember the password and it swung open miraculously. But inside, I swear to God, was a shade himself. The Witch King was in my apartment. And I knew, though, that no living man could kill him, but luckily I have a vagina. So I fired bullets from my vagina and tore him to pieces. And I rendered him asunder. Yeah. And now Frodo is free to do what he needs to do. Yes, I would like to go to psychiatric ward.
Take me away.
It's just, I mean, it's so catastrophically upsetting. Even with the new step-by-step information, it literally doesn't get any better.
No, there's nothing anybody can say that makes her look good in this, at all. I mean, even slightly better than what she is. There's nothing. She needs to go to jail forever, or at least almost forever.
She needs to get tried, but their initial thing is manslaughter, if it all pans out like they're talking about, I could okay, manslaughter, because it was a whole series of accidents. It wasn't an intentional killing. But man, I don't know. That's so fucking stupid. That's such high negligence.
Yeah. Such
high negligence. Not only did I have to break in to kill this guy, and kill him I did. I had to break into my own apartment. I see now it was the light thing before, but now it's the breaking in part. I'm trying to wrap my head around. If I'm in a hotel, and I'm like, key card? That's the wrong goddamn room. If your key card tells you no twice, my immediate reaction is I've seen a Steven Seagal movie or two in my time. I'm pretty sure I can jimmy this lock. Why would you think that? Why would you go there?
Well, here's the thing, too. Okay, so let's just say it was a legit somebody is in my house stealing my shit. Okay. Let's just say that's what it was. Let's just give it the fucking benefit of the doubt. All right?
Uh-huh.
Why do you draw on somebody that is in your house stealing your shit?
Well, I mean, you gotta keep them contained. I mean, like that's what I'll give her. I mean, like if she pulling your gun is one thing, but pulling your gun and just like get on the ground, didn't respond, kill him. You know what I mean? Like that's not an adequate response.
I mean, okay, so
there should be some escalation time.
Drawing your fucking gun, and it's usually for the preservation of life, not preservation of TV and Blu-ray player. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I mean, like because I understand it though, because like let's just say like he actually broke into her house, draw a gun, get on the ground, because otherwise you have no means of which to restrain him.
Right.
You have no thread of which to lever against him in order to actually get him to comply. So I mean, I'm sure that like the cops and racists will probably be like, well, he should have complied with the police officer's orders. I'm like, well, the cop broke into his house. Well, he probably can't even tell it's a cop. That would have been my thing. Like, did she identify herself as a cop?
That's a good question. And even if she did,
because she just said, "Get on the ground," I'd be like, "Fuck you."
Even if she did,
I mean, that would have been my immediate response.
It's like, do you have a warrant, or did I do something wrong, officer?
And that's nothing. What if like she let's just say like he does opens the door, he recognizes she's a cop.
Yeah.
Get on the ground. What? Dead. Like,
okay, just all right. Oh, I'm dead now.
Yeah, I mean, because like cops, I mean, for the most part, they want to be able to see you.
Yeah.
So let's just say I'm a cop and I open the door to a very dark area and I see a silhouette. Get on the ground. And it doesn't get on the ground. Get on the ground. I want you to obviously take cover so that we can have a huge shootout. And it'll be very John Woo, and I'll slide across there while shooting two guns. I don't know where the second gun came from, but it'll be my stun gun. You'll never see it coming. And I'm screaming at him, and I let him have it, and I turn on the light, and it was my coat. Fuck, I like that coat, but I did kill my neighbor though, because it went through the wall. I don't know. I mean, that would be my thinking. I don't want you to take cover. I want you to have your hands as high up as I can possibly see them in all this darkness while I turn this light on. If I see you reach for anything, now I will kill you. I mean, but I want you to get down and hide behind something.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna make this spectacular.
Listen, I'm gonna just say this right now. I didn't think we could talk so much about this, but holy shit!
Because it's a big subject. And the big CNN thing, it was hard to slog through. Like, it took me so long to try to read on it. There's like literally 90% of all of CNN's information is like she shot him because he was black, but then the other one's like, well, that's not really true. We don't really think that he shot her because he's black, but she did shoot him. Right.
But he's black though.
And that's what they say. There's no information, but it says repeatedly. A white police officer shot an unarmed black man.
See, that's just fucking unnecessary. Like, the only reason why you should ever mention race is A, if you're looking for the guy and you need a better description, or B, the lady said, I'm afraid of black people. Like, that's the only reason.
Like, she was like, she just comes off the cuff of just being like this, like, Nazi flag waving Confederate tattooed across my butt cheeks, like, man, I just don't like them black fellers, and then just waste it.
But I mean,
gay race was a factor. But I mean, like, I opened the door and there was someone in my house.
Listen, CNN does that shit, and it's the same exact thing they fucking hate. It's like, okay, it's like, okay, let's see what was the race of the shooter? Okay, it was a white person. What was the race of the victim? Oh, it was a black person. Let's make sure that's fucking headline news. But then a fucking terrorist attack happens, like, why you got to say that they're Muslim? I mean, like, they fucking It's
like, well, I don't know, because he wore a turban and screamed Allahu Akbar and then blew himself up in a fucking Macy's.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, like, he was pretty fucking Muslim.
You can't just have one without the other, and you should probably have neither, to be honest. If some people are just fucking crazy, unless they come out and say, yeah, we're with ISIS. You know? And they do. They do every time. They're like, yeah, we did that. They don't fucking keep that shit a secret. You don't need to, like, guess. Was this a terrorist act? Was this ISIS? Because give it a little bit of time. They'll fucking tell you, yeah, we did it because we're ISIS.
Every time. They got the big flag in the back and they do the little pronouncement like, yesterday we blew up the Macy's. Yeah. You know, so there is no question. CNN really does like to be like, we're not, you know, there should be no racism or races in America. We need to all be equilateral, but we're going to specifically point out whenever white people do things in particular against people who are either not binary gendered or are not white. It's like, you do realize that that's called perpetuation, right?
It's kind of just
you know that, right? This is actually the problem.
It's a little bit of targeting right there. I mean, we kind of know where your agenda's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those, like, so you just lost all credibility. How do you feel?
I think I'm done reading this shit. That's what fucking kills me. Is like, it's bad on both sides, but can you not be so blatant? Maybe at least sugarcoat it for me. Maybe at least disguise it as not blatant racism. Can you please?
Yeah, because you don't have this. This is like we're in the death throes of the podcast, so we're gonna do probably 5 minutes of tangent. This is slight tangent. You have two diametrically opposing viewpoints that are just crazy. Like there is no middle ground news outlet anymore. It's not just the news. It's the news my way or fuck you.
The news is my opinion.
Yeah, like my opinionated news. Because you have CNN, which is like, you know, white people are like, you know, the big Satan, and anyone who is, you know, not white or a white servitor is the perfect one, you know. And then you have on the flip side, you have Fox, who is like, you know, Saint Trump today spoke the gospel truth. He told us all how the Great Wall is coming someday, and it's going to wipe out all of the people that are different colored.
Also,
all of them at the same time.
Support the troops, or you're a fucking terrorist.
Support the troops, or you're a flag-burning liberal.
Worse than a terrorist.
Worse than terrorists. At least terrorists have morals.
At least they die for something.
Yeah. You're just gonna die for my fender. I truly wish that we could have this, like, you know, we have Fox, we have CNN, and then we have, because there's nothing like in the Venn diagram of news. There is only, like, you know, this insane opinion or this insane opinion, and in between the two, you have the truth. But you have to read so many goddamn articles to sew the truth together. And you're like cobblestone, like this Frankenstein of nonfiction.
It's like we've said before, Frank. People don't want to hear centrist ideas. They don't want to hear centrist ideas because it's boring. They're not
extreme enough.
They want hyperbole. They're like, oh my god, I can't believe that's happening. What's going to happen next? They want every news article to be a fucking reality TV show, you know?
Right. And the real reality is that it's not that exciting. It's not that glamorous.
It's not that bad.
Here's what we should really do. Like, if we really want to have, like, I guess, like a centrist idea come across people as being extreme, we should have Bernie Sanders bungee jumping from a fucking helicopter while doing his little speeches.
That'd be awesome.
And then we're gonna have free healthcare because we're gonna pay for the fucking Wall Street. Fuck!
Listen, that would be amazing.
He would do this. He would get to the helicopter and go, "This is Bernie Sanders, and this is my speech." Dead. I mean, he'd be like doing this thing, and he'd get to hear heart failure. I mean, it would just be like, boom.
All of his bones break.
He looks like a giant Jewish teabag.
I mean, I don't know, man. It's like I said, everybody wants the hyperbole, and you hear this shit all the time. Oh man, it's worse now than it's ever been, and the crime is so high. No, it's fucking not. Crime is
not.
so low in comparison to what it was 20 years ago.
But it's really high in certain areas, but everywhere else it's fine. So it's like those certain areas need to get their shit together.
Yes.
I'm looking at you, Chicago.
Detroit.
I'm looking at you, Florida, Detroit, LA, New York. The people. So that's always been my thing. Like, people are like, oh, the crime's so bad. No, it's just that there's a lot more people. It's not that the crime is so much worse. It's that there's because you always look at crime per capita, so per like a certain demographic of people.
Right.
So let's just say like one murder in 100,000 people. So like let's say like you take a town like let's just say like BFE South Dakota has 70,000 people. That's 0.75 of a person killed per 100,000 people. So this year, per this amount of people, there was no murders. Realistically,
yeah, it's less than 1%.
Next year there will at least be one. So then you take a place like New York. I don't know how many people in New York has. Let's just say 26 million. So there's going to be like there's going to be at least per 100,000 people one murder.
Sure,
it's math. It's math, and it's people in so large places. It's not that the crime is any higher, anywhere else. It's just that there are more people in one sardine can of a city.
Yeah.
Except Chicago. Chicago per capita is fucking way higher than everywhere else. So I mean, like, Chicago breaks the mold. Good job, Chicago. You kill way more fucking many people than everywhere else, and you also have the worst gun laws on the planet, which I don't even know how that happens. Actually, I'm pretty sure I do. Because the bad people have guns and the good people.
Yeah. But what is a bad person, Frank? Oh, here we go.
Oh, don't even. Look, we only have like 30 seconds left. Don't get me started on this whole like this ethics and morals thing. We are too far in the podcast for this. I will go forever, and you know that I will. This would be a 4-hour podcast before I even get to the second half of my talk. It's not fair. You can't do that to me.
All right, I'll let you off the hook this time.
Oh, me off the hook. You're welcome for dodging that bullet for you.
All
Jesus.
Right. I think we're in the shit quite enough here. So we're gonna pull back and be like, thanks for watching. Because now you got some stuff to think about. In fact, we already thought all of it for you at this point. I mean, specifically.
What are we, Fox News? We already thought of it for you, so you can just agree.
Listen. This whole fucking Dallas thing, okay? You come up with a whole different fucking scenario. I don't think you can. We thought about this for hours. But if you can,
most of my thinking occurred while we were talking about it. Because like the more I thought about it, the more insane shit got. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
But
we should do the outro.
If you can think about anything we didn't fucking mention, please tweet it to us. Tell us through email. I don't care. Just get to us.
And I will personally respond to you for sure.
He will.
Especially if it has to do with ethics and morals, because I am shameless.
And he hungers for attention.
I am. I'm like a Kardashian.
So yeah, @DastardlyGentleman is our Twitter handle. Like us on Facebook. Jump on our webpage, dastardlygentleman.com. Follow us on Twitch, because that's where we're streaming right now. Dastardly Gentleman here. If you like what you saw, and you are watching, hit that follow button so you can catch our next one. We're going to be doing Tabletop Night tomorrow, so that'll be fun. We're going to do Munchkin again. We're going to do Adventure Time Munchkin. If you're into Adventure Time. I know the show just stopped playing.
Adventure Time!
So...
I don't even know what Adventure Time is.
Yeah, I think I watched like half of an episode once, but Jerry seems to love it, and...
Let's do it!
Let's do it!
I'm so excited!
So, yeah. We'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Bye!
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh.
Listen, that was the wrong outro.
Lurf?
Hold on,
Did I lurf?
We're gonna do it right now. We're gonna fix it.
No! I already did my lurf.
Here it is. We gotta redo it. Alright.
Should we do it again?
There we go.
Look at this photograph.
Every time that makes me laugh.
There we go. That was the right credit.
I had a couple of kids since then. I have not seen you since God knows when.